You know, I'm not sure they're going to get used to all this winning. That's going to live in infamy. I think that's definitely going to be the thing for next season.
Absolutely.
Mile High View, no commercials, no bullshit. Colby, want to start off by reading you something. Hopefully it'll come up. Of course, I didn't have it ready, of course. But I just want to get your take on this. And it's a post that I put up. Dove Valley has produced Think automatons through their bought and paid for platforms. This channel is Wrong Think because we want to build the organization more along the lines of what successful teams are now doing around the league. One, define the culture. This is obviously a mercenary team of band-aids, quick fixes. That's the culture. No way around that. Long-term mindset. We have the guys running the front office that's win now. Our legacy is we got so small mind, small short-term mindset. 3, define the system. Broncos love grabbing players from different systems. Can't decide what system they're running. Every year it's a swap. Every year. Not done. Number 4, prime directive. Do not give up on the system once you've come up with it. Keep developing even through turnover. Dove Valley's is their actions are anti to the rest of the league's model. And that's why so many copy the Dove Valley method of 6 years of failure that a single quarterback, albeit Russell Wilson, is not going to fix. So that's the theme of where we're going to go. I'd like to get your take on that.
You like to get my take on it?
They say that again?
You would want to get my take on everything you just said, correct?
Correct.
On a tangent. So I think the whole sticking to a system and that whole organizational structure is something that the Broncos have missed since Pat Bowlen has been the owner for the Denver Broncos. John Elway has completely got away from the family culture, number one, the family environment, and also player development and sticking with a system that will help them be successful in the future. Elway is just notorious for, number one, killing quarterbacks, number 2, killing coaches, number 3, killing players, and number 3, killing an organization. We say a lot. And for all the people that say that John Elway doesn't exist, so if he doesn't exist, please explain to me directly, why does it look like John Elway's living in Dove Valley when this man right here posted a video of Russell Wilson going up to John Elway and saying, "What's up, boss?"
Well, not just going up to John Elway, going up to John Elway in his luxurious.
That's what I was going to segue into. When you think about John Elway, if I'm John Elway and you say you have a foundational environment in Denver, why are you putting onion layers in front of yourself? Again, that is something else we have to talk about. You sit there, John Elway, and say that you were just a quarterback away. You were Russell Wilson, or my apologies, Aaron Rodgers away from going to the Super Bowl. And you think you're John Elway, you think you're the 2012 Denver Broncos. You think
Okay, you're going to have to say, do you think all over again because you froze?
You think that the Denver Broncos are John Elway thinks that the Denver Broncos are the 2012 version of the Denver Broncos, which they are currently not structured.
Created in his own image. Created in Elway's own image, yes.
Yep, go ahead.
Well, I want to expand on that. This Elway hiding behind onion layers. If Elway was a successful GM/owner/ head coach, offensive, all the stuff that he just had to get his hands on, if he was successful in all these phases, okay, why would he have to hide under? Why do we have to listen to Cliffs, sports talk radio, online platforms that all cheered If Dove Valley does anything, it's the best thing. There's no opposition to anything Dove Valley does. If what John Elway has done is so monumentally great, why isn't he just part of the environment? Why do we have to hear these people say he doesn't exist? He's not a part of any decision making. Well, why would he have an office, the largest office, it looks like to me, or one of the largest offices, with the view of the field, the practice field? Why? Why? If he doesn't exist, why is he just? Is he furniture? He's just in there like furniture, with no responsibility at all. Oh yeah, you don't give me the yes. George Payton is the yes man. Fangio was the yes man. Vance Joseph was the yes man. And I want to get into this. The people who have challenged Elway, they're all gone. And I want to go to Wade Phillips. Because this is going to go. What I want to get into is this whole John Elway philosophy has been going on. This is now 7 years now. That's the thread I see. You can take Vance Joseph off. You can take Fangio out of the equation. You can take George Payton out of the equation. There's one thing that keeps permeating at Dove Valley, and it's this obsession of the edges. Obsession of the edges and complete neglect of the middle. Okay? And we're going to get into all these moves they did and why they make sense if you want to wreck the team. You don't want to do the successful model that's going on around the league. We'll talk about that, but how come this theme has not left, just like the guy that sits in that office hasn't left? How come the two correlate side by side? Go ahead.
Well, the reason why the two correlate side by side is because John Elway's still in that building. Because we have to understand, you talked about the people that held Elway accountable are now gone. I could go farther back than that and go to Adam Peters directly. I mean, Adam Peters was a philosopher in building from the inside out, not the outside in.
And who did he jive with that was also with the Broncos?
John Elway.
No. He jived with Wade Phillips.
Yep.
And I want to bring up Wade Phillips and all that and how that relates to John Elway and where we are right now. We have online. There is no opposition to Dove Valley, and especially now, just because they got Russell. Somehow, Russell Wilson fell in their lap, and I think Russell Wilson. My prediction is that he's going to regret coming here and not maybe Philadelphia, because this team is so dysfunctional from the top down. And if he gets a big contract, I guess the only silver lining to that is eventually he's going to get sick and tired of Elway, and the owner, and he's going to probably tell the owner, look, you got to get this guy out of here because he just keeps, this failed model now going on 7 years. And that's kind of my bold prediction down the road. It's not going to be what they think it's going to be. But we have all these online platforms trying to justify all these bad moves it's like this organization stepping backwards. Maybe Fangio had some say. They were trying to save his job or whatever. But I don't think we're going to get the same draft that we had last year. Well, obviously, taking so many back seats, Go ahead.
Yeah, I see this draft as a complete and utter shit show. I mean, again, before I came on with you today, I did some research on the visits. They're visiting with corners and receivers mostly. Okay? And again, why in the hell are you visiting with corners and receivers? Because that is Elway obsession all over again. And nothing.
Elway, or do we have Al Davis?
Well, I think it's a mixture of both. I think it's Al Davis souped up on steroids because no one wants to hold Elway accountable because it's John Elway because he was the quarterback for Denver apparently.
I think we have to take John Elway to an exorcist. I think he's being possessed by Al Davis. I think we have to exorcise Al Davis out of him. This is
going to be bad. I mean, next week is the week where I, am tickled pink because I am going to keep an eye on players that I've been doing film review on that are going to be going to other teams and have success. Okay. And then we're just going to get another tight end, a corner, or an outside linebacker edge.
What about receiver? What about a receiver?
Or a receiver with that 64th pick overall, when you can get a plethora of other players that are better than what you're going to get there at that position. Again, this whole situation is a complete shit show. Again, let's backtrack a minute here, because I got to compose myself, because I talked to you yesterday and the day before that about this whole idea about moving Baron Browning outside.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I got a lot to say about that. But I want it all from you.
I got to compose myself. So Baron Browning, why are you moving him to the edge? Okay, I am talking to Dove Valley directly. Why are you moving him to the edge? When he was successful, when he had success at Ohio State, Wanu, he was an inside linebacker, not an outside off-ball linebacker. He was an inside Mike Will linebacker, and that's what Fangio saw, and that's where he had success. He was placed by Kenny Young, who they brought over from the Rams with that Von Miller trade, I believe, or it was a free agent move or something like that. I think it was with the Von Miller trade. And you saw the progression that he was taking step by step with Kenny Young. Kenny Young is still a free agent. But you know what you had to do, Dove Valley and John Elway? Because John Elway, you've done this over the past 7 years. You move players to positions that they don't feel successful at and they don't feel comfortable at. That's what you do, John Elway. And what did you do? You decided to re-sign your boy, Josie Jewell. You brought in Alex Singleton, who is a replacement level starter at best. And you are going to put him in a system where you're going to put him next to Josie Jewell. That is going to be a complete and utter shit show. And we're going to see the same thing over the past 7 years when teams are attacking us in the fucking middle. And you have Baron Browning regressing before our very eyes because you had to do an experiment and put him at the fucking edge. That makes no sense. I'm done talking about it. Wanu and everyone else, you're wrong about that. I'm going to do film review on this, and I'm going to show you guys why he was better at inside linebacker at the Mike and Will position than he was an outside linebacker, off-ball linebacker in a 4-3-3-4 defense. And on top of that, you want to talk about Zaven Collins. I'm going to let you talk about Zaven Collins because this correlates to the Baron Browning point. So go ahead.
Well, before I talk about Zaven Collins, just remind me to bring that up. I want to go back and discuss this concept that we can't get away from going on 7 years now. 7 years of hard on the edges, soft in the middle. Now, I just want a little disclaimer here. Even though we're interior guys, we don't mean we're going to flip and do the reverse of Dove Valley, saying all we're going to do is concentrate on the middle and completely ignore the edges. That's not what, emphasizing the middle is about. I want to go to Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips and John Elway got into it, okay, about concepts. And obviously, Phillips was fired. Takes another team to the Super Bowl with his defense. Go figure, right? But and I think that stuck it to Elway so much that Elway was just so insistent he's just going to be and just prove Wade Phillips wrong each and every year. Take a look at the Raiders' offensive line. One of the worst in the league. The Denver Broncos go to play the Raiders with this hard on the edges approach. And the Raiders offensive line looks all pro, all across the board. And this, just to stick it to the Denver Bronco fans even more, note that our offensive line, where's the weakest of all they're all weak, but where's the weakest? Just to stick it to the Bronco fans and I'm going to prove my point. Which on the offensive line, where is the weakest link on the offensive line? Right in front of the quarterback. Right, and that's almost as if John Elway himself said, I'm going to get one of the most undersized. Matter of fact, I've talked to LSU fans. And they can't even understand why Cushenberry's starting. And they said they got a history of small, undersized linemen. And as a center goes, this guy should. They even said he shouldn't be a starter. LSU fans. I want to talk really quick and correlate this in again, why this doesn't make sense. The move, Browning, with Kansas City, because it all involves a philosophy. Theirs is hard on the edge. Everything is just edge, 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 edge. That's the flaw. That's the flaw. Kansas City comes up with this shit idea. I don't know. Did John Elway call him up? Hey, I got an idea for you. Hard the edges. Move Chris Jones to the edge, and the whole thing implodes defensively for them. Now, when I brought this up, the detractors told me, oh, well, they have these different players. That's what brought them back up. And I'm like, the whole thing crashed with those brand new players. They didn't, the whole clock didn't get back on track until they moved Chris Jones into the interior. Because the interior, you get that push up the middle. It is kryptonite to the quarterback. It feeds the edges. It makes your DBs better. It makes your edge guys better. Having a solid guy like Chris Jones up there, and it makes your other interior pieces better. You know, we saw this with the Denver Broncos of 2015. So there's this, and here's the other thing. Everybody's on the payroll. There's no opposition to this. If Dove Valley does it, God, it's the best thing since toilet paper, but they're one of the worst teams. They are the worst team in this division for a reason. And it's beyond the quarterback. That's what these people haven't got in their heads yet. That's what we've been saying. That's what we're all about. And this Browning, like you said, you had finally Fangio was able to get that interior taken care of begrudgingly, I think, on Elway's part. Elway probably just like, just was like, can't, I want the edges. And in my opinion, they're not even all that great on the edges. That's one of their stronger areas because they emphasize it. But those edges, they could have done this with Reed. They could have done it with Chubb. Had they really fortified the edge, they'd start off with DJ Jones, but they'd stopped. They didn't continue to build that. So anyway, you wanted to talk about Zaven Collins. Zaven Collins, we got an argument with a Dove Valley, I don't know, representative poster here. I don't know if he works for Dove Valley or what, because Dove Valley to him can't do nothing wrong. So it's starting to tell me about the downfall of Zaven Collins. Well, he didn't mention that he separated his shoulder, and here we go. Let's talk about, not separated, injured the shoulder. But we have a guy that we got, because Elway is notorious. He has to get somebody who's going to sit in a hot tub and pay him money. Pay him money to be off field. It's just the way out. And again, this is 7 years of this stuff. All you cheer-led Gregory. None of you wanted him. Because he wasn't on your list. But as soon as Dove Valley did it, oh, man. Oh, that's a Super Bowl caliber pick. If he's even on the field, he's got this shoulder, and shoulders are nagging injury. Collins was nagged. He was yanked for 4 weeks to heal a shoulder, and he never was the same that season because it kept nagging, because that's what shoulders do. They keep nagging. So we don't know how long it may take a year for this guy to be the Gregory you saw in the highlight tape. And you signed him, and you wonder why I put a video together that shows John Elway and Russell Wilson with a omen that once I ran to you, now I run from you. I think the chickens are going to come home to roost. The bad decisions and draft picks that are going to come, and the bad non-signings that happen with the bad signings, I have a feeling that reality is going to come home to roost on this organization that doesn't want to do it the right way. They want to do it the L way. Go ahead.
I think you hit everything. I think you hit the nail on the head on everything you said. I agree with every sentiment that you said. When it comes to this whole argument, again, you guys always win the off season. Okay, congratulations. You guys always win the off season. You did this last year. You came on and told us how wrong we were. And then when season and when reality hit you guys in the face, you guys slink away like rats. Okay.
Oh, there goes the subscriptions.
Yep. I'm expecting the same exact thing this year. I don't. That's generous to give them the worst team in the AFC West. I think they're one of the worst teams in the National Football League with player personnel wise. I don't think that they have the supporting structure at all to be a Super Bowl caliber team nor a playoff team.
I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think me and you are taking bets at when this offensive line gets.
Oh yeah.
Russell Wilson injured.
Yeah. When did you guys even Dove Valley? Did you guys even upgrade the offensive line? Oh, Billy Turner, Tom Compton, Calvin Anderson. Yeah. But you could have got way better players than that. You could have got a Lyle Collins. You could have got a Teron Armstead. You could have got those type of players. But no, what you decided to do, Elway, and what you wanted to go get back a name that you knew and loved, and Billy Turner, who you
got rid of Billy Turner.
Yeah, but again, you could have signed him 3 to 5 years ago and have him develop a young and up-and-coming tackle. That's how I would have done it.
Well, that goes back to our philosophy of, keeping those guys around and having them bring up other guys. The depth. Let's talk about the depth on this team. Okay. You're the one that
there's no depth on this team.
None.
There's no depth on this team whatsoever. The special teams, especially, I think the special teams is going to be worse than last year. To be perfectly honest with you,
it's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Well, you have the new coach, speaking sunshine and rainbows up everyone's asses. Yeah, Tom McMahon did that. Brock Olivo did that. And what'd you guys do? You guys ran them both out of town. And I guarantee you, Tom McMahon will have more success with the Raiders than he did here in Denver because
what reason? What reason?
Well, they have depth and better player personnel, and they have a family culture over there with the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh, it's Josh McDaniels. Well, you know what? Josh McDaniels is a great offensive mind, and we're going to see what happens over there. And I guarantee you that Derek Carr is the perfect Josh McDaniels quarterback, and they're going to build that offensive line because they're going after one of the offensive linemen that I'm wanting to get, Matt Hirsch from Arizona State, who I think would be a great third to fourth round pick. But Denver won't do that. They'll just get an edge, a corner, a tight end, a running back. Go ahead.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to build their offense because this is a good year to do it. Build the offensive lineup, and we know from the Broncos that was the first thing he did.
Yeah,
and the offensive line.
But again, nowadays with the Denver Broncos, you want to talk about depth. I'll talk about depth more and more here. You got DJ Jones in free agency. That's a good signing. Okay, now build on that. Don't just sit it and be like, oh, well, we got Mike Purcell and Draymond Jones. Again, I've heard for 3 to 4 years precisely, that Draymond Jones is going to have a breakout year. I've heard it last offseason. I heard it the offseason before that. When are you guys going to understand that this guy won't have his breakout year? He sucks. He's a replacement level starter.
Yeah, and I can prove that. Well, I showed film of it. All year long, we said, where's Draymond Jones? And he finally came out in the Detroit game.
Oh, against the JV squad when everyone was hurt.
Yeah, they had how many? 20? They had half the
hurt in that game, and
half the team was injured, and almost all the starters.
The irony about that whole thing is they were in the game until the second half.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And you guys are saying this is a Super Bowl caliber roster. We're just a quarterback away, right? Wow. And then what did you do, Elway? The perfect Elway hot tub time machine move. You go after Randy Gregory on a 5-year deal, $70 million. I understand people's argument when they say it's a 2-year, $28 million. But again, a 2-year, $28 million deal. But again, you have to look at the structure of that contract. You have to look at the incentives, the bonuses. If he plays this many games, he can get this much money throughout his contract. Again, Randy Gregory isn't a 3-4 outside linebacker. He's a 4-3, 5-tech, hand in the dirt, strictly a one-trick pony, go after the quarterback. He can't run defend. And I'm making a prediction here. I am making a prediction here on this date, 4/21/2022, that the weakness of the Denver Broncos defense, number one, is going to be when they run to his side of the field and they abuse him time and time and time again, just like Draymond Jones last year. That is going to be a prediction for me.
I've got even a better prediction.
Go ahead.
I predict that he's not going to see that much time on the field.
I agree with that as well.
I have a feeling we're going to hit Hot Tub Time Machine 2.0 with that pick.
Yes.
Yeah, you just can't win with this, and I just don't understand. I suppose Russell Wilson will make the defense. Well, they'll be 14 points ahead each game. You heard that, right? They'll be 14 points ahead each game.
Well,
Well, wait a second. Let me back to the defensive line just really quick. I want to go back to the Raiders having one of the worst, if not the worst, offensive line in the league. If Draymond Jones was so good, why was it that we didn't see him shine during the Raiders? They looked like they were all pro offensive linemen out there. This is not a team a quarterback away. You didn't do anything that really addressed the defensive line outside of DJ Jones. And then you don't have nobody in coverage. Now it's you know what? The way I see it is anybody with even a shitty offensive line now can just unload this ball. I don't know the running game that anyway, if they're not running it at us, they're going to unload in the middle of the field like they have for 7 years in a row with no problem. Their offensive line, I mean, if I had a weaker offensive line, I'd say, man, let's get this ball out right in the middle. Well, they can't stop us. You got a competent, even semi-competent quarterback and semi-competent receivers. That shouldn't be any problem at all.
Well, exactly. And to a point where when it comes to depth on this team, talk about the defense. Again, your middle linebacking core, because you move Baron Browning outside because, you're going to cheerlead that move. You have the paid for commenter that comes on here. Yeah, that's a great move. Yeah, mile high huddle with, I don't know if we're going to get used to all this winning. Have them say that, yeah, exactly. This is a great move to move Baron Browning on the edge, which is completely unfalse and untrue because that's where he had his less success when he was at Ohio State.
But that would be the Bronco thing to do. They're notorious for this.
Yeah, they tried moving. There's a name I want to bring up because it's lost in the shuffle and no one is talking about him. You guys remember a name, Justin Hollins? When they moved, again, when he was strictly an edge player at Oregon and they tried to move him inside, that's all Fangio's fault. Really? Fangio kept him at the edge, and then Elway had to barge in and be like, no, I want him in the middle. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'll probably disagree with that a little bit.
Well,
I think that that just strengthened. I think Elway wanted him at the edge because that's all he thinks about is the edge. I think what Fangio was desperate to do is that this team has been depleted in the middle so bad that he was willing to say, God, I'll try to move you. We got to do something about the middle.
I can see that makes sense.
Yeah, because Elway's so hell bent out, and then Elway said, okay, but if it doesn't work, okay. And now he's just like, they think the edge is going to reciprocate to the middle, and it just doesn't do that.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I think this middle linebacker core is one of the worst we've seen in the past 7-8 years.
I think so too. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I'm an OC, someone of any other team, weak offensive line, I'm like, I know I can get rid of this ball fast and get it out of there before they have a chance. I mean, look, this was one of the worst schedules last year. One of the easiest schedules.
And they had a tough time even being the first 4 games of the season. They had a tough time even getting through those 4 games.
Yeah, well, exactly. For a team just a quarterback back away.
Yep.
Yeah, that wasn't a walk in the park. So, yes, remember the Giants game, They struggled with the Jags for a while.
Yep.
So this is, and here's the thing. the NFL is really hyping up this this splash move by the Broncos for Russell Wilson. Well, we have the NFC West coming up. You're going to get the best out of that division, and you're going to get you're going to see Pittsburgh probably again, Ravens probably again. You're probably going to see Buffalo. This is not going to be an easy schedule.
I think, and I made this prediction to you, I think it was a day or two ago. I said, what I believe also will happen this year, I'm going to make the prediction on 4/21/2022. What I also believe is going to happen, I think that they are going to get embarrassed on national television one of those games, and I think that that's going to be the downfall, and that's when the national media will stop giving this team any credibility. Because what I personally believe, I believe if they face Buffalo on Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football, one of those three, and they get blown out, I'm not saying they're going to face Buffalo. I don't know if they're going to face Buffalo. Let's just say the Rams, because they're facing the NFC. Let's say they get blown out by the Rams on Sunday Night Football, 35-10 or something like that. I'll make a prediction right now that I believe the national media will go off of the John Elway PR bullshit that he's done over the past decade, because that's what John Elway's best at, is providing PR bullshit. He's the best PR artist of the last decade.
Yeah.
There's ifs, ands, or buts about that. And I think the national media will finally realize that this organization needs an owner. And
well, what did Troy Aikman say the last time they were on national TV?
I felt like I got duped.
I got sold a bill of
goods. Yep, exactly.
I felt like I got sold a bill of goods.
And that's Elway for you.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
And again, circling back to the depth on this team, you're going to take a running back at 64 overall when you have Mike Boone, who, when limited carries, yes, but those limited carries, I saw a guy that looked pretty damn good when he was healthy. And again, I understand. You know what? In this draft, you could get a running back as an undrafted free agent. You can get a running back in the 6th or 7th round. I would be completely fine getting a running back with the 6th or 7th round pick. I don't care about that. But when you're talking about premium picks, depth picks at third, 4th, 5th overall, in 3rd, 4th, 5th round, that's when I have a problem. 6th or 7th round, those are developmental pieces. I get that. I understand that. I wouldn't mind getting a running back with the 6th and 7th round. That's fine. But when you're talking about those premium 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks, then I have a problem. Because I have my note right here on a guy I would take number 64 overall. You want to talk about depth, or you could save $4 million by cutting Mike Purcell during training camp, and you can get a better version of Mike Purcell and Travis Jones. I did film review on him from UConn. I don't believe Piranha Winfrey will be there. I don't believe Chad Muma will be there at 64 overall. But my guy that I want is Travis Jones, defensive tackle out of UConn, 6'4", 326 pounds. This guy's an absolute stud. Yeah, I know we're not going to get him, because you know what we're going to go get? We're going to go get the corner from Virginia Tech. We're going to go get the running back from Iowa State, Bryce Hall, or the guy from Georgia, Hobbs. Or we're going to go get a receiver, somebody from Oregon. We're going to go get a receiver at number 64. We're not going to get Travis Jones at 64.
Why a receiver makes sense? I'm going to tell you why a receiver makes sense, because they're going to be doing all this winning, and they just want to know what to do with it.
Also, you guys say that Jerry Jeudy's this all-pro receiver. Then why are you drafting this receiver at 64 overall then? Like, your logic is just making no sense to me.
Well, it makes perfectly. If Dev Valley could draft a water boy, they'd all applaud. Yeah. I'll tell you why this makes sense. Yeah. There's too much of that. There's been too much of that for 6 years.
And you know what? What did me and you say? Who did we want last year? Rashawn Slater, right? I have nothing against Patrick Surtain. I think Patrick Surtain is a very good outside corner. But again, I like the progression what I saw from Patrick Surtain. Do I like the pick? No. I would have picked Rashawn Slater, because you people understand if you are in our Dove Valley right now, our offensive line would be consists of Rashawn Slater, Quentin Nelson, Creed Humphrey, Quentin Miners, and Ryan Ramczyk at right tackle. Could you imagine that offensive line? But again, you people don't want to.
That would make Russell Wilson a whole lot better.
Yep.
I'm going to talk about Russell Wilson.
Bowles, not Garrett Bowles, not Dalton Reiser, not Lloyd Cushenberry, Quentin Miners. From what I've heard, they want a bench for Graham Glasgow, which makes no sense. I mean, Quentin Miners showed that he is capable of producing at a very high level. Well, and what you want to do, Elway? You want to just keep your boy Graham Glasgow.
We're lucky we didn't lose him because of the rumor was there were calls coming in because they know the Broncos do not covet offensive linemen.
They were going to trade Quentin Miners?
They were, called up wanting to do that. They haven't done it, but the rumor was teams were calling up and inquiring if they would trade him because they know the Broncos don't know shit about the offensive line, really. And they saw what you saw. And so far, they haven't done that. So that's one, at least, silver lining. But yeah. So that's the guy you got to bench. That's the guy that you got to bench.
For the guy who they restructured his contract before a coach even came here, and Graham Glasgow. Okay. Again, what is again? Why again? This offensive line isn't even. I don't even think it's top 15 to be.
They struggled both with the run, and they were inconsistent both with the run and the pass. Inconsistent. Yeah, giving them a mid-grade is being very generous.
They got Teddy Bridgewater killed. They got Drew Lock killed. They got Case Keenum killed. They got Paxton Lynch killed.
They got Flacco killed.
And again, I heard this week I talked to you about Paxton Lynch. They are so obsessed with Paxton Lynch and Drew Lock that they just can't get out of their own way. I mean, you do understand that Paxton Lynch. What did they do? Explain to the viewers what they did with Josh Allen, because you were explaining it to me. What did they do to Josh Allen when he came into the league and they progressively got him into the playbook? Explain to
the national show, and I don't know what it was. I was listening on the radio, so I just, tuning in between some music and a national show. They were talking about Josh Allen's development, and I was tuned into that, so that's what got my interest. Then they brought up, they said Josh Allen, what the Buffalo Bills did. They said, look, we're giving you a look. We're giving you an offensive playbook similar to what you had in your college, and then we'll start building on it. Developing.
While they're developing the team, mind you, with him.
Yeah, well, yes. They were developing even before he showed up too.
Taylor, remember him?
Yeah, so they've been developing the team even before Josh Allen. Just keeping that process going. Again, I opened the show and discussed this concept. Just it's boom. It's just the cheerleaders can't figure that out. But anyway, so they're talking about Josh Allen's development. Then they bring up, of all people, Paxton Lynch and what Denver did. They said, well, it was diametrically different when Denver did. Is that Denver took Lynch and said, we already have this system that's completely alien to anything you did. We're going to throw you in it and expect you to sink or swim. Okay? And, of course, there was Elway and Kubiak battle royale between two quarterbacks because nobody's on the same sheet of music at Dove Valley. So until Elway got rid of everybody, and then it's his way or the highway. So they did exactly the opposite of what a team would do in developing. And I'm just going to go off tangent here. And I guess once San Francisco gets rid of Jimmy G, they may have. Well, of course, they've probably been working with that draft pick, Trey Lance, Elway's guy. They probably are bringing him up to speed, though. They probably will still have to do like a hybrid of his.
Yeah.
Yeah. But these teams know how to develop. Matter of fact, I didn't name team names, but what Denver does, everything is diametrically different than Patriots philosophy, Steelers philosophy, Ravens philosophy, San Francisco philosophy, Buffalo philosophy, Rams philosophy, and I kind of keep going. We have the Colts philosophy. They just don't. Now, finally, teams like the Bengals are getting it. The Giants are getting it, and we talked about what could you imagine? Because Russell Wilson, and by the way, Denver was not Russell Wilson's number one choice. He wanted to go to either New Orleans or he wanted to go to the Giants. Giants was the number one pick for him. So if he wants to, he could not sign and wait his contract out. And after with all their picks and draft capital and building the team correctly, he could land on the Giants 2 years from now. It's a kind of prediction, but I'm just saying that's always if he doesn't sign, that's always a possibility. That would always be there for him. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, when it comes to development, the Denver Broncos are notorious for not understanding that under John Elway's regime. They don't know how to develop anybody. They'll get players here and there that get developed by certain coaches, and then they'll fire the coach, like Curtis Motkins, the running back coach. They'll just fire him, and he'll go somewhere else and have success. And you'll bring in a guy from Montana State. And again, with this whole Russell Wilson argument, people were saying that with Russell Wilson, he's going to bring all these free agents, all these, talented free agents to Denver. That never happened.
Well, when that didn't happen, all the platforms, all of them. Remember, we were talking 3 to 5 Super Bowls instantly, 3 to 5 Super Bowls. When that didn't happen, that this mad rush to get here to win a Super Bowl didn't happen. They all said, "Whoa, we didn't say Super Bowl. We said that we're still building."
What do
so
you?
I wanted to talk about Buffalo for a second because I've got somebody I know. It's like I said, we talk to other people around the league, okay? Because we're not, a bunch of homers here. So we got talking about. You were just talking about coaches. You were saying that how they get rid of Motkins and whatnot. We get rid of them, not that they get some other team comes and takes them away. So Buffalo feels that their system is so entrenched, they're all so behind it, that they can afford to lose coaches because they're always kind of combing that too, just like players. They're always finding people that are good fits for coaches to bring up and to develop coach development as well. It's a great system, and that is the system I just wish we had here.
And this is something I've been thinking about, and this is going to be something here I'm going to try and do over the next few days. I'm going to email Mike Munchak because I want to interview Mike Munchak. I want to ask him about how, in terms of offensive line wise, I want to ask him questions because I just want to get this ball rolling with it because I want to get Mike Munchak on here and I want to talk to him about offensive line and how it's important to team success in terms of protecting the quarterback, offensive philosophy, how that correlates to organizational structure from the top down, all that good stuff.
Well, player development.
Exactly, player development. And again, you brought in Butch Berry, okay? And this goes to Chris Cooper is the offensive line coach in Minnesota. You got rid of Chris Cooper, John Elway, a former Bronco. You got rid of him because you wanted to bring in Butch fucking Berry. Nothing against Butch Berry. Nothing against him. But again, you don't have the players that correlate to that system. You have a Quinton Miners, who is a very good zone block runner, who honestly, I think he's better at center than guard. That's just my personal opinion. Billy Turner, 3 to 5 years ago, I could understand the pick at that right tackle position. But now he's like 31 years old.
Yeah. Now, wouldn't Turner be more your your veteran on the bench kind of.
He would be your swing tackle. Like, he'll be your Tom Compton type player. He would be your swing tackle, left to right or interior. He could be your swing player.
Well, I would limit his play a little bit. And
well, what I mean by if someone gets hurt, you can move him to left tackle. You can move him to left guard. You can swing.
Yes. And you're not putting him out there 17 games. Yes. You
could have did that 3 to 5 years ago. I tried telling everybody, you could have kept Billy Turner, gave him a good contract, gave him what the Pittsburgh Steelers gave him, not the Jawan James money you did to replace Billy Turner. Look how that turned out. And I know.
What channel? Yes. And me. Because I don't sit there and cheer. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we've got Jamal. Oh, no.
So, and again, going back to the offensive line portion of it, Graham Glasgow, again, he doesn't fit a zone running scheme. He is strictly a power gap guard who Detroit let go for a reason because he sucks, and kept the other player, Frank Ragnow, who's a top 5 center, in my personal opinion, when healthy. Dalton Reisner has completely regressed since his rookie year because, we're going to change to this system, we're going to change to that system, we're going to change to that. That's what you do to players when you consistently go through coaches, is the players that you drafted and the players that you want to develop are going to regress. Garrett Bowles has all the athletic traits in the world, but again, his problem is he hasn't been able to put it together because, number one, he's a John Elway pick. You drafted him number 20 overall. And here's a fun fact for you personally. We haven't drafted a tackle since 2017.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I got a bold prediction for Garrett Bowles. Garrett holds. Let me put it this way. We had last year teams complaining about Garrett holds.
I sent you video.
I was sent video that other fans of other teams put together, film study. The NFL was allowing Garrett holds to hold. I mean, not just hold, but just ridiculous, tackling and wrestling and all this other stuff. I am predicting the NFL with Russell Wilson will ignore even more of Garrett holds holding. They're going to really turn their back to that.
Well, you know what?
We'll have a breakout year because nobody's throwing a flag on him.
Garrett Bowles isn't a top 8 left tackle in the league. Sorry to, he probably is the 10th or 11th or 12th. That's me being generous at best when he is on point. But again, Garrett Bowles is like any other John Elway pick. They're inconsistent or they never pan out. Because you know why? Because they go through coaches. Their organizational structure sucks. This team doesn't have a foundation. I don't want to hear that from anyone that this team is a foundational organization. They are completely inept in that whole organizational structure foundation-wise. Garrett Bowles, I said coming out of Utah, number 1, has all the athletic traits in the world. I said that's going to either benefit him or not benefit him. And right now, to me personally, that really hasn't benefited him because I said coming out of Utah that he doesn't have the Ryan Ramczyk fundamentals that you need to be successful in the National Football League. Ryan Ramczyk is a top 5 right tackle. And you could have drafted Ryan Ramczyk. And the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Saints understood the philosophy of protecting Drew Brees, protecting that quarterback. And we haven't even done that since Josh McDaniels has been here and Pat Bowlen. And again, this whole situation with the whole Garrett Bowles argument, I would take what did the Chiefs do last offseason? Went after Orlando Brown, went after Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey. They got Trey Smith, the Tennessee guy, in the 6th round. Their right tackle's the weakest link on that roster. Okay? What have
the Chargers done?
Rashawn Slater, Matt Filer from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Corey Linsley, who they got from Pittsburgh, is a top 3 center right now. Mm-hmm. Their right side is a little hit and miss, but they're developing players at that position. The Raiders are going to start doing this. Okay, they're going to start doing this under McDaniels.
Oh yeah.
They brought over that whole Patriots culture over there. Dave Ziegler is now the GM. He was the head scout over there. You know he's going to go after offensive linemen. You know he.
Well, and that would bode Carr well.
Oh,
I told you.
That's why they gave him that money. You know why they gave him that money? Because number one, the Raiders are actually, in my personal opinion, the Raiders are on the up and up, and the Broncos are going down the shitter. Because, like you said, the Raiders are starting to understand how important interior players are. They went after Jayon Brown. They replaced Corey Littleton for Jayon Brown. You don't think that's going to benefit him? Oh wow. Okay.
So what they understand is what they understand with bringing McDaniels in is it gets you back to that Musgrave year that Musgrave year where Carr was just balling.
Yep.
And can you imagine just how that the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Chiefs are going to slice this defense up?
Well, again, let's talk about those three teams specifically. How do you think what do you think their reaction is right now when they say that we're a Super Bowl contender and they're laughing at us in their organizations? They're laughing at us because they know that we can't even hold their own jock straps.
Well, they know this is a PR machine.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I telling people. I tried telling you people.
Well, what did we see? I sent you an article from Philadelphia.
Yep.
At least they're objective.
About Singleton.
That particular one was about Singleton, but I mean, they don't just sit there and like, oh my God, how can we possibly get rid of, like everything the Philadelphia front office does, it's just a bad. The Broncos are the only, maybe, I don't know, Raiders, I don't know of any other team.
Browns, maybe early 2000s.
Where everybody's just like, yeah. There's no, like, wait a second, wait, time out. No, we're the only ones out there that are, and it's just like, I think if somebody was actually objective out there, I'm not talking about playing the part of objective, but serious objectiveness, I think, and hold this organization accountable, we'd be so much farther ahead.
Yes. And I just want to talk to the fans that do get it. Me and you hold this organization accountable, but we need more people out there to hold this organization. We can't I don't mind doing this. But again, our voice is definitely being heard, and I believe it's starting to be heard. But again, we need more people to get the word out that Dove Valley is not the Super Bowl organization that STR, Dove Valley, and John Elway wanted to that believe they are a Super Bowl roster. I understand people are afraid, they don't want to deal with this. But again, you guys got to get over that fear, and you guys got to face reality. And the reality is this team is not a Super Bowl roster. I don't even think they're a playoff roster. I think they got worse this offseason.
It could very well be.
You're more objective than I am. And that's fine.
Well, they're going to have a tough. I'm telling you, they're going to have a tough schedule next year. It's going to be tough. It's going to be like last year.
I don't look at the schedule. I look at the players that they acquired and
No, I'm looking at all of it.
I know you are, but
when I look at a schedule, I look player personnel versus player personnel.
And that's why we drive so much, is because we understood you got rid of Bryce Callahan and got worse with Kwan Williams. No one can argue with my film review whatsoever because they know he sucks. You didn't upgrade the linebacking core. I think you got worse. Stephen Weatherly went to the Browns. I sent you an article about that. He went to the Browns. What a shocker, right? You paid all the money where you could have got better in certain areas to Randy Gregory. You brought in Alex Singleton, who's a 4-3 off-ball linebacker, not a Mike or Will linebacker in a 3-4 defense.
That Weatherly move, that just is another one of those head scratchers where you can't tell me moving Browning there was when you did all these other moves that counterproducted. There was a counterproduction everywhere.
You could have gave Reed a decent deal. I mean, he's not the best, but he is a solid outside linebacker piece. Bradley Chubb on the other side. Weatherly, Cooper, Develop the players.
Yeah, and then if you would have just kept those guys and really honed in on that push up the middle, could have
Yes.
been set.
Yes. You could. Eddie Goldman is still out there. Eddie Goldman, you can move him at defensive tackle. Draymond Jones. Okay, if you want to keep the John Elway pick so bad, Sandy Clough, then keep him at the 3 tech and a 3-4. And then you could get a Juwan Winfrey in the draft. You can get a Travis Jones, who I want in the draft from UConn. You can get a McCall from Kentucky, who's a developmental piece. Again, you in the linebacking core, bring back Kenny Young, keep Baron Browning, get a linebacker.
Yeah, none of that's going to happen until they get their PP whacked.
I know. A man can hope. Justin Simmons, don't even get me started. Can we please understand this, that Justin Simmons is a yes man and a PR talker for Elway?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
Of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got to go here pretty soon, so why don't you give me some last parting thoughts?
Well, I don't know when will we last talk next, but I'll be sending you film on Baron Browning. I'll be sending you film on more draft prospects that I've been busting my ass. I think.
I put up everything you've sent so far, right?
Correct. You
have.
Okay.
Ladies
and gentlemen, I think that this has been one of my most successful draft profiles this year. I think I've gotten a little bit better in draft profile.
Oh, that reminds me. You, just before we go, you got into a conversation about drafting a linebacker versus what the Broncos wanted to draft. You said what they were, Wano, Dove Valley.
The mock draft?
Yeah. Why is their linebacker not the way to go versus what you see?
Okay, so
what do they have? What are they talking about?
Axe Jones sent me. I'm not calling you out, Axe Jones. I'm just saying the mock draft, I disagree with a lot of what they said because, number one, the lineman from Memphis, Joe Tryon or whatever his name is, to me he's more of a guard than a center. Okay, he has short arms. I think that will benefit him more as a guard than a center. Okay, but it was 2 rounds later. Yeah, exactly.
T-Rex.
Yeah, T-Rex. 2 rounds later, they got the guy from Ohio State, Asamoah, or it was from Oklahoma or whatever. And even when they drafted him, they said that he was a 4-3 off-ball linebacker than a 3-4 micro will linebacker. And this is why I wanted Darian Beavers. This is why I want a Chad Muma from Wyoming, a Troy Anderson from Montana State, a JoJo Doman. I think JoJo Doman to me is more of your I would say he's better in a 4-3 defense than a 3-4 defense, but I can see how he can develop as a will coverage linebacker in a 3-4 defense. I see the developmental traits. The guy that they drafted in the mock draft, to me, he's more of a straight line speed run stuffer than a coverage linebacker, if that makes any sense to people. They probably don't understand that. But
that's their guy, right?
I guess, yeah, the Ohio State. It was the Asamoah or something. And a lot of people have been wanting me to do film.
Edge.
Yeah, a lot of people have been wanting me to do film study on him. The reason I'm not going to do film study on him because, quite frankly, I don't think he's going to be that good of a player at the next level. He's not my type of player that I want to profile. I profiled Darian Beavers. I already did a JoJo Doman film review. I already did Troy Anderson. I think this year this is probably one of my best works in this draft because these are the type of players I love. And again, I'm keeping tabs on these players, where they're going to be going. This next week is going to be such a big week for me. I'm not trying to gloat. I'm just saying this is the time of year where I get excited because I like to understand what system they're going to and how they're going to get better and how they are going to grow as players.
We'll keep tracking that too for our own benefit.
Yeah, and just the last thing I'm going to say, I don't know when it will be the last time we talk, but if they get Darian Beavers or Travis Jones at 64, I know it's not going to happen. But if Dove Valley, if you ever run across this video, please get one of those two players or Chad Muma, because to me personally, those guys will help you in the long run than getting a freaking Nick Benito out of Oklahoma, an edge player, or getting a corner or a tight end or receiver at 64 or running back. Please get a defensive tackle or a linebacker, please. That's all I have to say. Please.
And my bold prediction is this is going to be a step backward from last year as far as the draft goes. It has that feel to it. It has that feel. Of course, they could draft 3 punters in their first 3 picks, and everybody would say, yeah, and then a kicker. Yeah! No matter what they do, yeah! So, and that's my other prediction that, of course, it'll be the best draft of all time, of all drafts. The other platforms, it'll be the best. All right?
All righty.
I got to go.
All right. Have a good one.
Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.